Perhaps one of the main reasons they created this award back in the day was how can they give journalists opportunities and access to world's best players? Like, what is better than an award ceremony? Well. Happy Ballon d'Or to those who celebrate, Michael. Were you celebrating today?
Oh my God, yeah. Why work when you can sit there and watch people get honors and awards all day? No, I was following online.
And I have to say, going into this, year's award ceremony, at least from the woman's side, we were thinking, Aitana is going to win the third time in a row. Like more than the men's side, I think the women's awards were, for me, more important. But I have to say, I got really emotional when I saw Osman Dembele's, accepting speech, and how his entire family, except his mother, cried at the end. A long-awaited award for a French player in France when his team won the Champions League. I thought it was a good ceremony. Definitely a big win for Qatar.
That's right. That's right. And I think, rather than just talking about who won it and why, and I know other people have talked about, oh, so and so should have been second instead of fifth. No one cares about that. I think what I would love for us to talk about this episode is the history of the Ballon d'Or. How did it start? Why is it such a big deal? It's grown so much over the years. It used to be a very segmented European focus, and now it's obviously global. So we're going to chat the business of the Ballon d'Or and all that fun stuff on this week's episode of Finance of Football. I'm veteran sports journalist Michael LoRé.
And I'm Asli Pelit, the staff reporter of The Athletic. Welcome to our show. When you said the business of the award, I think a lot of people who, think about football, like the prize money, do they win anything? And I have to say, first of all, very important detail, there's no financial gains from this prestige.
Not directly.
Exactly, not directly. There's some players have it written in their contract. If they win this award, they get bonuses from their sponsors and from their teams.
That's right. Let's talk about the Ballon d'Or just in general, because I feel a lot of people, they know maybe of it, but they don't know the history behind it. They don't know how it's become this prestigious honor. I think first and foremost, we have to understand when it started and who originally awarded it. So back in 1956, a couple of sports reporters, let me try to put my French on these, Gabriel Hanot and Jacques Ferrand.
Mais c'est bien, like very
Right?
good.
Ouais.
C'est
Thank
pas
you.
mal, c'est pas mal.
Huh? They came up with this idea. They were writing for a French magazine called France Football, and they came up with this idea of honoring the best European men's soccer player with this award, and the Ballon d'Or was born. And it's pretty cool that it's grown and evolved since then, expanded to players of any origin playing in Europe in 1995, and then it truly became a global prize in 2007. But it's not just for best men's player. They've added to it.
They added women's categories in 2018. But before that, I think one of the things that I read, perhaps one of the main reasons they created this award back in the day was how can they give journalists opportunities and access to world's best players? Like, what is better than an award ceremony where journalists can, hang out, to know them better in a very relaxed way, not like post-match or pre-match or championship, but like, a nice celebration where they can all drink and celebrate and talk about the game. Also access to the agents, also access to club owners. I feel like when you think about it, these guys are geniuses for putting this together. And perhaps that's what made their magazine so successful also throughout the history, for really breaking the most important stories and getting like the real behind the scenes access to a lot of big sports stories at the time. And like you said, it's becoming more and more global. But I have to say, I'm still looking at this award. It's a very Euro-focused award. But I would love this to be more global. I don't know if it's there yet. And I think that's because perhaps the journalists who are voting for um, this players, they may not have access to all the global championships and tournaments, and they're mostly focusing on Euros, the World Cup, and Champions League and European leagues. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. But first, these two are geniuses, right? Like, not only does it give your publication validity and prestige that you're giving someone this award, like you said, it's also giving access. That maybe they tried to talk to so and so and so, and they get the cold shoulder, and now it's like, hey, let's throw a party, and we're going to give you an award for it. Let's become best friends. So should we do a finance of football award ceremony or something like that? Maybe we'll bring out some sponsors. Somebody can, like, presented by Body Armor, Michelob Ultra. By the way, if you're listening, please let us know.
I would like to wear some of those gowns. I feel like, you will look great in a tux.
That's right. I love it. I love it. I think we just came up with a new idea here. But going back to your point about it being maybe European focused, the voting's carried out by 100 journalists from the top 100 FIFA ranked nations. So I think already there you kind of have, I don't want to say a bias, but you have a bias where a lot of those top ranked nations are predominantly European, South American, a lot of those countries, and you're going to have the best players playing in Europe, because if you look at the best leagues on the planet, the majority of them are in Europe. So I think you still get global in that you have players who are playing in the continent from all around the world, but they're not necessarily looking at the top league in South Africa.
For women's, it should be NWSL, don't you think? Like, we have the best players in the world here. Like, we definitely can compete with Europe in women's football. Megan Rapinoe won. I think we will see more of that in the future, especially in the women's game.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the biggest thing, right? Like, it's kind of wild that the men's award was around since 1956, and it took until 2018 that they finally were like, oh yeah, we should probably start honoring women who make up half of the world's population and play soccer as well too. Like, oh yeah, we should start giving them some awards too. But that first one, there was a little controversy around the first women's Ballon d'Or, right? Like, I still can't believe that happened.
That was so inappropriate for someone, a man, to like ask her to twerk, like, yeah, dance for your award. And she was so uncomfortable. She was like, what are you talking about? If people are curious, they can watch the clip. Is everywhere on the internet, like how uncomfortable that put her. Imagine, like, you're known and awarded for being the best women's player in the world. And then this guy comes up and tells you to twerk. Like, it was like insane. And also, like, a lot has changed since then. Another, I think, important detail, everything was in French all the way to recently, maybe last 2 years. And I think if you paid attention, it's now in English, the award ceremony, to make the whole award more global. I remember it was like a confusing moment when the guy asked her to twerk, because a lot of people don't speak French. Like, everybody's like, what's going on? Even she was surprised because it was it was unexpected, and also it was like weird and in French.
Yeah, listen, it doesn't matter what language the request is in, it's still highly inappropriate, right? She's being honored for her athleticism and the way she plays the game and sportsmanship and all of those things. And you're like, congratulations, here's this award. By the way, now dance for me. And you're just kind of like, like that would never happen on the men's side, right? Like, zero chance. So it completely overshadowed it. But I would like to think that at least the Ballon d'Or ceremony has grown up a little bit from that. I don't think there have been any issues since then. I'd say the biggest thing over the last 2 years, including this year and the year before, was Real Madrid's boycott of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they sat there and they were like, listen, we don't want to come. We're going to stay at home. They barely promoted it on social media, and they have players, Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius. Like, these are guys not necessarily in contention with Dembele, because it was practically he kind of ran away with it as the favorite, but like, they should have been there. There were guys who were lower on the list who were in attendance, but Real Madrid, for some reason, has really thought of this as such an an afterthought and almost like an insult. And it's so interesting that a club with that much history and prestige, they have the most Champions League titles. You'd think that this would be something that they care about and wanted to promote, and they don't.
They don't, because it seems, I mean, it doesn't seem, it is clearly an award ceremony that rewards Barcelona players over other teams. You know, the young player of the year award went to Vicky Lopez from the Barcelona women's team, and Lamine won for the men's, and of course Aitana won again, the third time in a row. And there's so many Barcelona players that over and over again is winning. Remember Messi, like the player that won this award multiple times, 8 times. He has the record, whereas his arch nemesis Cristiano Ronaldo only won 5 times. Not that that matters or whatever, but I have to say, after that rivalry was trickling down, the award kept going to Barcelona players. So I think Real Madrid really didn't like that. But boycotting an award ceremony, it's a childish a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I, listen, I'm the same way, right? Like, just because you didn't win the award doesn't mean you don't show up and support. And some of these guys play together on the national teams, whether it's England or
Mm.
Spain or Portugal or whatever. And it's like you said, it's a coming together of clubs and people and executives, and you want to celebrate. So, like, to sit here and say I'm going to take my ball and stay at home is kind of not only a slap in the face of the Ballon d'Or and the whole ceremony, but it's like that's global soccer.
I was trying to figure out, organizing an award ceremony is not cheap. So obviously there are a lot of sponsors and partners involved in putting together. It's not just a magazine. In the world of dying media, I'm sure they cannot just afford to put together something like um, even with sponsors and everything. They do have important partners, which we know UEFA, one of them, the owner of the France Football and L'Equipe, two of the France's biggest magazine, Groupon Maori. Also, they own the Ballon d'Or brand. Just think about it from the brand perspective, how lucrative it is to have an international award ceremony and sold it over across broadcasting partners. That's a great revenue stream for Group Amari. Of course, they have, between media rights and sponsors, Louis Vuitton creating this beautiful like luggage that brings the award. Of course, it's Europe. Everything is curated in a beautiful way. What would be your prediction for next year? Like, seeing this very quick shift, both globally as a product for television, switching the award ceremony from being only in French to English, and bringing a lot of international stars to present the awards and bringing families on stage. Like, what's next for Ballon d'Or? Let's think about that.
They're sitting pretty, right? It is this global thing, like you said. People care about it. I think it was on CBS and Paramount here in the States, and people are tuned in. I was following some, live blogs and all that kind of stuff like that with it. So it has become this like made for TV must watch extravaganza. You want to see what people are wearing, the tuxes and the dresses and all of that. Who's sitting next to who doesn't show up. It's become this kind of soap opera-esque moment. And does it mean anything other than congratulations, you got this little trophy now, you got to go out there and try to repeat it? I think, the World Cup obviously coming next year is going to be a major factor in it, because you get some players and you get some teams that can make a run. It's over the course of the year. It's not just how you play in one major tournament. But the World Cup is obviously going to be a big factor.
Here's what I think. I think this was overall a great award ceremony. Can it be better? For sure. First of all, if they want make more money, can they stretch it a little longer with better placement for advertising, bringing more partners into it? I don't know, maybe a category that hasn't, I'm sure they're thinking about this, but like, to make it more global, I think these 100 people who are voting on it, maybe will give in more time, instead of voting for just that season from fall to spring. If it's actually a whole year, some of the leagues from around the world, including the ones in the United States, might be able to have more candidates, especially from the women's side. They've been adding awards to this ceremony since 2018. So I'm guessing they are seeing the potential of making it bigger and better. So, like adding global nominations from international leagues to like really balance this between Europe and the world. Because right now, this is a prime time event for Europe, but it could also be prime time event for Africa and Middle East. And here, maybe, if they change the timing of it a little bit for us to watch it after work. But I definitely see the potential of turning it into something literally more global.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Tune in next year.
I wanted to wear something today very special because I wanted to make sure that everybody knows outside in the world that I'm the favorite daughter of my family. Just saying. I know my brother will be very upset, but when I saw this sweatshirt, I'm like, I'm going to buy it just because I kind of want to make a statement.
Well, I don't think your brother would be too jealous not being called the favorite daughter of the family.
Finance of Football comes to you from the Frequency Machine Podcast Network. Hit us up on social on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube
for more football business and our enlightened opinions.
This episode was produced by co-hosts Pelit and Michael LoRé. It was edited by Ryan Hammond. Mixing and mastering by Julian Kwasniewski. Our theme music is by Hatam Tsunami. Our show is executive produced by Stacy Book and Avi Glajansky for Frequency Machine. Find more about Finance of Football at frequencymachine.com. Follow us on YouTube at Finance of Football and listen anywhere you get podcasts. Please like and subscribe. Help us reach more people. We love you for it.